So I found the directions to how to do this online. It's one of those little, I guess they call them onion ornaments or something like that, very 60s and 70s, I guess. So this one is made with cardstock paper, or that cardstock scrapbooking paper. So I got this set of paper for $8 on sale, and I found out that if you use the paper that's double-sided, it works better. So to do this, you're going to need the two-sided cardstock scrapbooking paper, a rotary cutter, a quilter's ruler, or any kind of ruler really, a heavy-duty hole puncher. I got this also in the scrapbooking section. I got this thing called a crop-a-dile, like crop and then D-I-L-E, but it punches holes, so you maybe don't need the heavy-duty hole puncher, but it punches holes here, and then it sets different sizes of grommets and eyelets with these little thingies that spin around. So anyway, and then some eyelets. They come in different colors, the black and white, but I found this little package of eyelets that come in like primary colors or bright colors, and then some in the pastel colors, and these are just a few bucks, and they're also in the paper crafting section. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on making a paper ornament. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to pick your pages that you want to use. And another reason I like these books of paper is because everything matches inside of them. And since I already had some pulled out, I'm just going to pull, they usually come like 2 pages each design, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out the other half of the pages. And you want to pull it out really careful so you don't tear the edge, so that way you can use the full 12 inches. So this is a 12 by 12 sheet, and if you cut your strips 1 inch wide, you can get 12 sets of strips out of each piece of paper. You don't have to be exact with the 1 inch strips because it's double-sided. That makes it easier. So if you had single-sided and you had to back them up to each other, you'd have to do really close to exact so that you don't see white space. But this is a lot easier, so just cut off 1 inch strips and set them to the side. So I'm going to finish cutting all these strips. So, oh, I forgot to mention that I'm using a self-healing cutting mat that you can get like in the quilting or the cutting supplies section. That's got it's kind of like soft plastic, so you don't want to be cutting on your table because you'll tear it up. So since this is double-sided, I'm going to flip all of these pieces over because I've already made a set where this side is showing, and so I've got 4 different patterns here because you have 4 layers to your onion ornament. So I just flip all these over, and I've got 2 here that are already done. So I've kind of got a little bit of a method to how I was picking which layers go where. So I'm going to just continue doing that. And so my next one's going to have this color on the inside and this one on the outside. So you need 1 piece for the middle and then 2 pieces for every other layer. So now I'll just take this for there. Okay. So now I'm going to take and push these kind of out of the way, but still in my order that I want them. so that I don't get mixed up and cut the wrong piece. So one of them, the one that you're going to use for the very middle, you're going to cut to 6 inches. And I never get this one quite right because my ruler, I guess, is not quite exact, or the paper's not exact, or something. So, and then put those faces together, and then if it's really off, you can trim down a little bit that's sticking out. And be very careful with these rotary cutters because they are super sharp. And I did cut my finger a little bit with it one day, and then the very next day is when I tried to ginsu off the whole tip of my finger, but it got better fast. So, alright, so you got 6 inches, then you're going to cut 7 inches on your next layer out. So I like to take my 2 strips that match, stack them on top as close to perfect matching as you can get. Alright, so this one's going to be 7 inches. And I like to use this clear ruler rather than the quilter's ruler, because the stripes on the quilter's ruler are really thick and it makes it hard to see to line the paper up exactly. So that's my next layer. And then these little strips you can save, and like I did a smaller little piece. Alright. So my next layer is going to be this green one. And stack them both up, line them up. And we're going to cut this one to 9 inches. And our last layer, we are going to cut to 11 inches. And you can do these whatever size you want. If you want to not have to cut a third one, you could adjust the sizes of any of the other ones. It just makes it stick out more when you do your final, when you put it together. It just makes it a little more poofy. Okay, so I forgot to turn on the video when I started on the second part. So anyway, I had all of my strips cut to the right size, and then the next thing you do is you stack them up in the order that you want. So this is the center of the onion, this part right here. And so you want, this is the 2 sides, but we're going to have this side facing out. Okay, and then here's my next piece. And you want to make sure that you keep the same side facing out on both sides of individual layers. Okay, and then what you do is you just tap them down until you get a really get them lined up really well. And I had already punched the hole, but I like using this heavy-duty puncher just because it's slightly less than 1 inch wide, and my strips are 1 inch wide, so I can use it to center my hole kind of in the middle of the strip. So you see it's kind of right in the middle of the strip. So when I punch the hole, I'll have my hole lined up in the middle of all those strips, and I opened up my eyelets and I picked a color that was pretty close to the color I had, and you insert it, And so you got to make sure that you have a hole punch that's the same size as the eyelets that you're using. So I'm using a 1/8 inch hole punch, and I have 1/8 inch eyelets. And so I had to take it apart, so it's a lot easier to put the eyelets in than that. So now, this little crocodile thing is what you have to use to set these eyelets. Your eyelet's got the fancy or the clean side of the eyelet, which would typically be facing whatever, like if you're doing a paper craft, it would be facing out or facing you. So this fits on this little nub right here. It sits in there, and then it punches against this little side right here and flattens it out on the other side. So when you put your eyelet in the hole that you punched, okay, you want to make sure that you put the little nubby part into that, and then just squeeze it. And it punches it and flares out the back. And this paper, this amount of layers is almost too thick for this depth of eyelet, but so far none of them have fallen apart, and you'd really have to pull on it to get it to come out, I think. So now, to get the other side, found out that if you take and hold this part right here kind of loose between your thumb and your finger, and then just push down, and your next layer will go in there, push down again. Okay, so then just clean that up a little bit. And if you hold it loose, you get them to slide down inside of there. And then your middle layer, and that's the one that puts the tension on it to pop the other ones out, so that one's kind of harder. So I found, because my hand gets in the way, if I go to the edge of my table and then just line everything up and get it down, because you want your bottom edge to be just as clean as your top edge. So when you get everything lined up nice and straight, just kind of pin it between your fingers like that. Don't let go of it, or your middle piece will pop out and you'll have to reset everything. So center it up, punch your hole, don't let go of it. Take your eyelet that you picked out, and you don't have to do it because I don't think anybody's going to be looking that close, but I like to keep the same side of my eyelet on the same side of my paper. Okay. Then your setter. Okay. And that's one done. And then so you can take these and use like some clear either like fishing line or like plastic string, beading string or something like that, and you could do all kinds of stuff. You could do hang it from like a brass ring and make like a mobile for a little girl's room, or you could hang it from a light fixture, but you'd probably want to make sure you use the fluorescent lights instead of the incandescents, because they'll get really hot and this could catch on fire. The fluorescents are much cooler, and so you could do that, like make you a light fixture, hang a bunch of them around it, or you could hang it from a wall at different heights along against the wall. So anyway, those are my little onion paper decorations, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with them yet. I'm going to keep making some more, and we'll see what happens, and I'll take a picture when it's all done and show you guys what I did with it. Alright,